Hi everyone, welcome back to my incredibly messy but certainly very lush and leafy garden. And today's video is all about a quick update on my fire pit area. Yes, I made some more progress with the cobble walls up there and also on my border edgings. So all there is time for today is a quick progress update, and I'll share with you some of the exciting plants on the way. There's a few firsts for me here in the garden and some stunning plants that look incredible every single spring. And right now they're at their absolute best. So follow me, we'll have a quick look up there and I'll share with you some exciting progress. Usually at this time of year, my garden is already full of the summer plants, everything really starting to grow. But this time round, things are a little bit delayed, partly because of the amount of mess that this line building work is creating. But let me share with you some little spring highlights on the way. First up is this beautiful Schefflera taiwaniana, hardy umbrella plant. This one actually got nibbled back slightly by the frost and real cold in the 2022 December cold spell. But as you can see, it's branched off now and it's now got 3 of these amazing shoots, meaning 3 times the beauty of these incredible new leaves. I just love the exquisite new growth, absolutely fantastic. And as we head through, you'll see the Trachycarpus, they're flowering now. That tree fern, the one that I moved this winter, that's growing away now. And just next to it, you'll see there, another Trachycarpus flowering away. It really does look so beautiful in this late evening sun. But anyway, I know what you're here to see. And as I push through past the beautiful Persicaria Purple Fantasy, lovely tree fern there opening up, and the bamboos, some of those already looking stunning, you'll see today's progress. And yes, the view is transforming week by week. Remy's exploring it for the first time here. So's Max, got both of them out here tonight. And you'll see that I've got the beginnings of my cobble edgings. So these are gonna be 2 courses high. I've got the first one in today. As you can see, I used some of the leftover mortar to really pack it up. So standing back here, you can get an idea of what this area is going to look like. Once I take those stones out of the way, once I give it a proper weeding, because there's plenty of weeds at the minute, and then I can give it a final coating of sand as a kind of aesthetic mulch, I think it'll be absolutely tied together, really look beautiful, and cross that line between genuine beauty and a kind of botanical display of plants from all around the world. I do really love the way it's starting to come together now. And if those of you who've been following my journey for quite a while now, you'll remember that this bed here, that Jabea was planted ages ago, not long after I moved in, September 2020. That one I planted in spring 2021. It was actually a video with some extremely epic music, which you should definitely go back and check out, one of my earlier efforts. But today, there's no music, only beautiful bird song, and you can hopefully see now the idea that I had in my head of what these raised beds would look like. They did look a little bit random, a couple of mounds in the garden, but now having this cobble boundary absolutely defines them. I've left a few of the sedums in, the Hylotelephiums. I've added a few other little plants, but this area here, it's not so much about packed jungle planting, it's a kind of sparser, exotic Mediterranean type look. And as those palms grow up there, the Pseudopanax medistance, as that sizes up, as the Jabeas get even bigger, I think it will really be beautiful. But looking back this way, you'll notice the bamboo, the Phylostachys aureosulcata. Those now are contained on the front. I did that before in my previous videos, but now I'm putting the cobble wall in here to just completely disguise that barrier, so you don't see the plastic as much. Like I said, this will be 2 courses high, but I just ran out of time today. It's a case of juggling between garden progress, being a father, and all the other things that life throws at you. But here is the cobble wall. Now you can see the entrance to the fire pit. It's definitely been developed quite a bit more. And yes, I will say it's not to everyone's taste. I know my idea of rustic is definitely on the looser end of the spectrum. Max is walking away in disgust. Yes, it's certainly a wonky, wavy wall, but that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted something that's stable, definitely structural, but certainly has a bit of character to it, like it's been there years. And when I get rid of these grasses and just leave the palms, my steeper tenuissima grasses, the Butiagrus, and a few key alpines and sempervivums, I think it'll look completely stunning. Now, what I will say is, it's not finished yet. So this side here, I do need to continue that top course down further this way. and leave a few planting pockets. So I'm leaving gaps between some of the cobbles, but then I also want to have some actual separate gaps between some cobbles to get some bigger plants in there. Just want to show you quickly these foxgloves. They're looking beautiful now. Self-seeders that I moved around about 6 weeks ago, already flowering. And to me, they're not exotic, but they're just beautiful plants. And I really want to welcome self-seeders and a bit of natural beauty to this part of the garden. Now, looking at the Djibouti side, I know some of you did have slight concerns about the structural integrity of this wall, and it's not the strongest wall, but equally, it will definitely stand up. I'm 100% sure of that. As you can probably tell, that most of the joints are done in a stretcher bond or running bond fashion. There's a few that aren't perfect, but the wall itself, it's not a retaining wall as such. It's not holding much back other than, well, nettles and grass at the minute, but it's more of a cladding essentially. A dressing for the soil, a way of protecting the soil from erosion and giving a beautiful look to the plants I'm putting in top. Just been a little bit wary of the wasps are buzzing around at the minute. So what I've done is I put some sand in to just give you a little idea of what it's going to look like. The finish height, I've not quite decided yet. Like most of my projects, I do go into them with a rough idea of what I'm doing. Hope you can hear me over those birds. But there's always room for, we'll say, creative diversions, evolution of design, and here I think there will be some evolution. Now I have got a beautiful plant to go in somewhere there that needs a very sheltered, well-drained spot. So that is really the spot I'm designing all the levels around. So as you can probably tell, I've not finished the wall as such, and I quite like the idea of having plants spilling out there and also from that gap there, but I might have a few blocks maybe further up, maybe like a separate sort of course, probably following the line of that Djibouti around. That's an idea that's definitely evolving in my head and something that I think might work. But overall, I do quite like the actual finish level. It nicely ties together the top of the rock here, which sort of simulates a cliff face if you like, and also the wall top over there, the copings, which do still need to be stuck down. So I'm quite happy with the overall height. I like the way that as you walk down here, it really wraps around you. I like the way it curves back, which is definitely 100% intentional. And as you can see now, I am starting to get through the cobbles. But looking back, I quite like the view. I can only imagine that once to get these weeds out, once to have some beautiful sedums, other succulents, grasses, just tumbling gently over there. I'll drill a few holes in the wall just to push a few little plugs in and little rooted cuttings. Then once I decide whether I'm having bound gravel or patio slabs covering the path up here, that decision's maybe a year or so down the line. I'm really excited to see the whole area come together. Personally, I do enjoy formal gardens. I really enjoy a more naturalistic, beautiful flowing garden. And my goal for this part here was to really create a hybrid of both. Essentially a garden which is a botanic garden in terms of the variety of plants, unusual plants, tall plants, towering plants, but then mixed in with self-seeders, other forms that just naturally flow over the edges, and hopefully the cobble borders here leading neatly into the cobble walls up here. And when I do eventually get bound gravel or slabs down there, it will really create enough formality to really tie the whole area together and make the planting just absolutely sing. Now, I promised you a few highlights and a first of my garden. First highlight today has to be the red Valerian, which is definitely a pink Valerian. These beautiful Centranthus ruber are just absolutely stunning. And the reason that I planted these, not just for the self-seeding beauty in the garden, but it's also for the way they look when they're backlit by the sun. They're really starting to get some presence in this part of the garden here. And the eventual plan for this bit here is essentially for those to take over most of the spring interest. The steeper gigantea behind to really produce a huge, great big fountain of that beautiful golden foliage. That's gonna look amazing when the sun hits it. Kind of like it is doing now. Over there you can see, really beautiful. And then lower down, steeper tenuissima, all the California poppies that are self-seeded, and further around here, a load of sedums, sempervivums, all kinds of different plants. And then this spring will be the first spring the alliums are coming to flower. But I promise you a first, I won't stall you anymore. I will just show you very quickly the absolute beautiful Kniphofia northiae. This plant looks like an aloe. It really is an incredible hot poker. I mean, just look at that. For a plant that you can buy for a tenner, maybe even less if you shop around, just look, it looks exotic as any of the Darzularians or yuccas behind it. It really is a beauty. And this one only went in last year. And as you can see, a flower there is starting to push out. So that's the first of my garden. But on a bigger scale, it's also the first year that my beautiful Eucalyptus pauciflora Mount Buffalo is flowering. It is absolutely covered in flowers. Just look at those. It really is beautiful. So this one, like my other Eucalyptus, is still only a young tree. It was only planted in around September 2020, so we're only looking at 3.5 years old. This is one of the smaller growing Eucalyptus, but that is in context really. It's still going to probably get to 7 to 10 meters tall, but it's not going to become absolutely ginormous, completely monstrous. It will slow down once it gets a little bit taller, but those flowers in this beautiful light, they really are absolutely stunning. There's no scent as such, but honestly for me, I do feel a little bit pride seeing these. Tiny little trees when they went in, and they really have sized up well. The Glaucescens, well, that one can definitely become ginormous. But I think this one here, if you are looking for a small Eucalyptus, the beautiful red colouring on the leaves is probably a little bit more subdued this year as the plants got bigger, but in previous years it's been the most glorious vivid crimson red colour. But as that fades, the flowers now really are making the show complete, and I think they look lovely. So not something I expected to see this spring, but definitely an unexpected beauty here in the garden. So once again, I'll head up this way, past all the weeds. You'll see there, this large form of Steepa gigantea, it's really starting to absolutely fill this area here. The lamb's ears, the small silver carpet version, those spreading nicely, doing their thing. And in the middle, this plant here, this deserves to be planted in more exotic gardens. This is Eryngium agavifolium. Just look at it. Again, just like the Kniphofia northiae, it's a plant which completely has an exotic look, but it's completely tough and hardy. So can you imagine a whole planting scheme produced with grasses like the Steepa tenuissima gigantea, mixed in with Eryngium agavifolium, Kniphofia northiae? It's entirely possible to have a garden that looks like some South African or Californian exotic dry arid scape, but with completely tough and hardy plants even here in rainy England. As Remy runs off up the garden now, I'll just show you this view. Yes, I ended on this view last time, but I'm going to do the same again. We are a little bit closer. And now as you look that way, you'll see the cobble wall leading off into the distance. We're definitely one step closer to having the beautiful garden that I have in my head. So today's video has been very basic, very to the point, but I'm pleased to share with you some hard landscaping progress and some planned progress that they've done while I've been messing around with cobbles. As the last golden rays of the sun then slowly fade away, it's time for me to go inside and enjoy some time away from the cement mixer and all the cobbles I've been dealing with today. But I hope you've enjoyed this quick look around. Thank you for being patient with me, but I am pleased to have made some more consistent progress recently. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you've also had a great weekend in your garden, and also you've enjoyed some of this beautiful blue sky. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.